Can someone please help me find the logic here? How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the controversy surrounding a 22-year-old transgender swimmer by the name of Lia Thomas at UPenn. Now, this situation is so ridiculous, it's so crazy, and I feel like it's kind of become common now, where you have biological men, XY men, becoming women. I'm not really sure how they're doing that. Is it just they declare they're a woman? Is it a process you go through? I have no idea. But they're XY men now identifying as women and competing in athletics against women. It's unfair. It's not right. And if you're going to have this happen, what's the purpose of having men and women's sports? You know, just have everything be intramural and get rid of the whole gender discrimination, if you want to call it that, the gender separation. Just eliminate it if it's going to be like that. The only reason why there's a difference between men's sports and women's sports is because men are different than women, okay? It's not because they can't work together, because you can have a workplace where you got men there, women there, and you do the same job. You're an animator, you're an auditor, you are even in construction or something like that. If you got some of these big, brolic women that are able to lug bricks in 2x4s and whatnot, it's fine. But athletics is much different because it's a physical competition, and men are physically different than women. Now, let's get into this article. This is going to be on New York Post. We got to read it and see what's going on and really dig down into the nitty gritty. And you see the headline here: UPenn transgender swimmer sparked outrage by shattering women's records. And that's them right there. This is the person. Their birth name, I guess, is Will Thomas. Now they're known as Lia Thomas. So that's the new picture, looking like Bret the Hitman Hart. It is what it is. Okay. Now let's go ahead and zoom in if we can. Give me one moment. All right. So the article reads: Lia Thomas, a 22-year-old transgender swimmer at University of Pennsylvania, has been shattering women's records at the school. You don't say. An XY male breaking all the women's records. I'm so surprised. Like nobody could have seen that coming, right? Before her transition, she competed for 3 years at Penn as a man named Will Thomas. So it's not like the person, they were 18 years old and they went to the school and they identify as a woman. They were competing as a swimmer at the same school as a male. But then at 22 years old, all of a sudden now I'm a woman. Now I'm going to compete against the women at the same school. My question would be, how well did you do against the men? Did you have success at all? Because we've seen other people that are trans. They compete in the same sport as their birth gender. They don't have much success. And then they go over to the other side and then they dominate. Just like the movie Joanna Man. I keep talking about that movie. When I was a kid and saw that, I was like, that's crazy. That never happened. But here I am talking about it every day like it was a documentary. It was prophetic. In that movie Joanna Man, the guy was kicked out of the NBA or whatever the equivalent basketball league was in the movie. He was kicked out. He was thugging and drugging and whatnot. And he was like, you know what? Since I can't make money over there anymore, I can still play basketball. How about I put on a dress and the wig, and now I could play against the women, all this, that, and the third. That's what's going on right here, apparently. I mean, come on. You competed as a man for 3 years and then go to the other side. But I digress. At a meet including Princeton and Cornell on November 20th, Thomas had a 1:43.47 time in the 200-meter freestyle and 4:35.06 in the 500-meter freestyle. These times were records for Penn and would have placed Thomas second and third, respectively, in the NCAA Women's Championships, according to the website Outkick. So you're talking about at a swim meet that wasn't even like as far as national competition, if Lia was to have those same times in the national, he would still get a medal. like if it was the Olympics or whatever, he would still be second or third, silver and bronze. So just a little bit more effort, he would just, first go all the way. It is unknown when Thomas transitioned from male to female, but the swimmer competed as a man as recently as November 2019. At least 2 years ago, this person was still a man competing as a man in swimming. So again, he didn't just go there and say, all right, now I'm trans, I identify as a woman. He was at the school as a male competing as a swimmer for 3 years. It's unfair. NCAA rules mandate at least 1 year of testosterone suppression treatment to be eligible to compete as a woman. Well, how about your shoulder suppression? How about your hip suppression? How about your 6'5" Clark Kent looking frame suppression? Is there any kind of pill to suppress that or no? Thomas, co-chair of the UPenn club non-cis. So if you don't know what that means, non-cis means, well, the word cis, that means normal, basically. You were born as your gender, you identify as your born gender. That's what cis means. So if you're non-cis, that means you don't identify with your born gender. Okay, so we spoke to the Post this past June. I guess that's them right there in the water, right? Here's a quote, I guess, from Leah. Quote, swimming is a huge part of my life and who I am. I've been a swimmer since I was 5 years old. So you're 22 right now. You probably changed at right around 20. So 15 years you've been swimming as a male. And then you become female and you're dominating and nobody can figure out why. We know why. I mean, come on. The process of coming out as being trans and continuing to swim was a lot of uncertainty and unknown around an area that's usually really solid. Realizing I was trans threw that into question. Was I going to keep swimming? What did that look like? Being trans has not affected my ability to do this sport, and being able to continue is very rewarding. I'm going to just pause right here, though, because, okay, you identify as trans, whatever. You can identify as whatever you want to identify as. You can identify as a foggy day on the mountain. You can identify as a stolen carburetor. That's fine. But check it out. Ultimately, you're still an XY male biologically. Science-wise, I ain't talking about nothing else how you identify. That's your business. I don't care. Do your thing. Identify as trans, LGBT. Great. That's your prerogative. However, science says XY chromosomes means you're a male. So why can't you compete with the other XY males? You don't have to identify as them. You can still have your Brett the Hitman heart locks and all that good stuff and baby face. That's fine. Call yourself Leah. That's fine too. But still compete against the males. I mean, why is that a thing that you can't do? And if it's about hormones therapy and stuff like that, then have a league where it's people that are trans like you that have the same issues as far as the medication and the transition and things of that nature. If you didn't have surgery or whatever, compete against them so it's a more even level playing field, right? And even in the trans league, it still should be separated by XX and XY, because you also have trans men, people that were born as women but identify as men. And I've met actually a trans man before. Their body is still a woman, ultimately. I ain't talking about like their, the pleasurable stuff. You understand? I'm talking about the size and the stature. Still a woman at the end of the day. But I'll move on. Being trans has not affected my ability to do this sport, and being able to continue is very rewarding. As is always the case in stories like this, there's a lot of controversy about fairness of people who are born as men competing as women. Quote, well, of course, women's records are being smashed, tweeted Chicago-based sports performance coach Linda Blade, who is most likely a woman, biological, I would assume. Quote, Leah competed as a male for the first 3 years in NCAA. This is not right. We need to return to hashtag sex-based sports. Sex, not gender, to preserve fairness for female athletes. There you go. Big facts. The Daily Mail documented a number of other social media users who felt similarly. This past June, there's a link for that. Of course, this will be in the box below if you want to read for yourself. This past June, the Department of Justice argued that laws in Arkansas and West Virginia barring athletes who were born as men from competing in women's sports, were unconstitutional. I mean, that's crazy, the DOJ. The U.S. has a significant interest in ensuring that all students, including students who are transgender, can participate in educational environment free of unlawful discrimination, the DOJ said. Also this past June, New Zealand weightlifter Laurel Hubbard, remember that person that went to the Olympics, smashed all the records when they got to the Olympics, laid a goose egg. The person was born Gavin Hubbard and transitioned in 2012, was selected for the country's team. In the post-op-ed, writer Bethany Mandel argued that this, quote, defied science and fairness. In May, a Gallup poll found 60% of American respondents believe that transgender athletes should only be permitted to compete in sports that correspond with their gender at birth. There you go. Now, here's another picture of quote unquote Leah. Look at the size difference. Look at the stature of this person. You're looking like Michael Phelps right here, sir. I mean, man, whatever you want to be identified as, zir, zim, zer, ma'am, him, her. I don't know what your pronouns are, so don't sue me. Don't get offended. But come on. I mean, really, come on. Come on. Look at your forearms. Look at your biceps and all that. Look at your chest. And next to you is a biological woman. Like, I know a man when I see it, and I know a woman when I see it. Sometimes it's kind of confusing, like the Blair Whites and whatnot. But that's not you, big dog. You my size. I'm 6'2", 6'3", 215 pounds. You my size. Okay, you're looking like, what's the name? What's my man's name? The movie star Ryan, that played Deadpool. You're looking like him right now, boss. I mean, it is what it is. This is crazy. Come on, Doc. Look at your. Okay, I'm gonna just leave that right there. This is crazy. If you identify as trans, that's your business. I don't got no problem with you. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you to try to convert, because that's your life. You live it. However, we got to be fair. We have to be fair. It's not okay. It's not right to have biological XY males compete against biological XX females. That's it. It's simple. I keep seeing these stories every single day, and it's always like something really crazy. You got these big bodybuilding dudes that decide they want to become women now, and they're still big bodybuilding males that identify as women. There's no difference. They're dominating the women. Allow women to have their own spaces. Since when did it become okay for men to intrude on women's spaces? I thought that was a thing that we couldn't do. I thought we had to give them their own space, allow them room to just do whatever they want, to explore and to be women. Why can't we do that? Is it because people think that trans women are women? They're not, biologically. They're not. If you want to feel like that, that's great. But at a certain point, we got to draw a line. And I think that in some cases, the line has been overstepped. It's been habitually overstepped. Shout out to Charlie Murphy. And I'm not quite sure we could put the genie back in the bottle at this particular point in time. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about Will, a.k.a. Leah Thomas, doing this, competing as a woman when he's a biological male? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys pretty much know where I stand. I say this is ridiculous, and it shouldn't be going on. We should allow women to have their spaces and not be so intrusive. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.